Let me be honest with you. Right now, sitting here thinking about Saturday's game against Bournemouth, I've got a knot in my stomach. And it's not because Bournemouth are a bad team. They're not. It's because of what's happening in our treatment room. The names coming out of there? Not good. Not good at all. So let's talk about it. All of it. No sugarcoating. First, let's set the scene. Arsenal are 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. 9 points. That's not a small lead. That's a statement. That's the kind of gap that makes you feel like the title is ours to lose. But here's the thing. Manchester City have a game in hand, and Pep Guardiola's side are facing Chelsea the day after our Bournemouth clash, which means if we slip up on Saturday and they win Sunday, suddenly that gap tightens up. A lot. So this game matters more than people are giving it credit for. We're not just playing Bournemouth. We're playing for our own nerves, for momentum, for the psychological edge in this title race. And we're doing it potentially without some of our most important players. Can we still get the job done? Probably yes. Should we be worried? I think so, honestly. The Saka situation, is he back or not? Right. Let's start with the big one, Bukayo Saka. He hasn't played since the EFL Cup final against Manchester City. That was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. And in that time, Arsenal played the FA Cup against Southampton, the league, and now a Champions League quarter-final first leg against Sporting Lisbon in Portugal, all without him. Think about that for a second. Our most dangerous attacker, the guy who makes defenders genuinely nervous, has been watching from the sidelines. And during that stretch, we lost the FA Cup tie and honestly looked a bit flat in the league too. Now the good news, and yes, there is good news, is that Mikel Arteta has spoken publicly and said he believes Saka will be available for Saturday. He said it with some confidence, too. Not, "we'll see" energy. More like, "I think he'll be ready" energy. That's encouraging. But I've been an Arsenal fan long enough to know that injury updates and actual matchday decisions aren't always the same thing. We've had situations where a player was likely to feature and then didn't even make the bench. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Not fully convinced, but hopeful. And look, if Saka is back and even at 70% fitness, he changes the game. His presence alone makes Bournemouth's defense think twice. He draws fouls, he creates chances, he scores goals. Getting him back, even partially, is huge. What do you think, though? Should Arteta risk starting him or ease him back from the bench? Odegaard's knock. This is the one that scares me. Okay, now let's talk about the one that really worries me. Martin Odegaard, our captain, the heartbeat of this team, the guy who makes everything tick in midfield. He picked up what looked like a knock during the Sporting win in Lisbon on Tuesday night. He was taken off in the 70th minute, and Kai Havertz, who came on for him, by the way, ended up scoring the winning goal. So at least that story had a good ending. But Odegaard walking off like that? Not ideal. Now here's what's confusing me. After the final whistle, Odegaard was seen celebrating with the squad on the pitch, smiling, jumping around. That doesn't look like a player in serious pain, right? And some reports are suggesting it might just be a precautionary substitution, that Arteta didn't want to risk him any further with Bournemouth coming up. Fair enough. Smart management, arguably. But here's where I get nervous. There's been no official update on the nature or severity of the injury. Nothing. Just, we'll know more closer to the weekend. And when a club stays silent on an injury like that, it usually means one of two things. Either it's genuinely nothing, or they don't want to tip off the opposition. Odegaard in midfield versus Odegaard absent from midfield are two completely different Arsenal teams. His passing range, his positioning, his leadership when things get tight, it's irreplaceable. Martin does. If he misses Saturday, we'll manage. But I'd feel a whole lot better knowing he's out there from the first whistle. Trossard, the fresh problem nobody saw coming. And just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, we've got a new one. Leandro Trossard, the Belgian winger who's been one of our most consistent performers this season. He was actually in the starting 11 against Sporting, which itself was a bit of a surprise given he'd been flagged as a doubt beforehand. But Arteta trusted him, and he repaid that trust by putting in a solid shift. Then, in the 76th minute, off he came. And the way he looked? Not great. He didn't look like a player who was simply being managed. He looked uncomfortable. There was something bothering him physically. What is it exactly? We don't know yet, The club hasn't said a word, no updates, no clarification, just silence. And that's not ideal heading into a weekend fixture. The thing about Trossard is he's one of those players who quietly becomes essential. You don't always notice him as the headline maker, but he pops up with goals. He's tactically smart. He links play beautifully. Without him, we're thinner on the left side of attack, especially if Saka is also managing his fitness. So yeah, this one is a concern. Not a panic, but a concern. Timber, so close, yet so far. Here's one that's been dragging on a bit. Jurrien Timber. The Dutch defender picked up an ankle injury during our win over Everton 3 weeks ago. He's missed the last 3 matches because of it. Before the Sporting game, the expectation was that Timber would travel with the squad to Lisbon. That would have been a positive sign. Even if he wasn't playing, being in the travel party usually means you're close to a return. He didn't travel, but Arteta has said he hopes Timber will be ready for the weekend. And honestly, knowing Timber's character and how much he's been pushing to get fit, I believe there's a real chance he starts on Saturday. When Timber is available and firing, he adds so much. He's comfortable at right back, can play center back, and his ball-carrying ability is genuinely class. Plus, he's the kind of player who sets the tempo with his energy and his press. We miss that when he's gone. Fingers crossed on this one. He might just be the surprise positive from an otherwise messy week. The confirmed absentees. Let's not forget these guys right. Beyond the doubts and the maybes, we do have confirmed absences. Let's run through them quickly. Odegaard Eze, the attacking midfielder who joined us from Crystal Palace, has been ruled out with a calf injury he suffered during the Bayer Leverkusen's second leg in the Champions League round of 16. Initial reports suggested he'd be out for around 6 weeks, which would have ended his season. But the more recent update is a little more positive. There's a chance he could return in time for the Sporting second leg on April 15th. That would be massive. He's shown in his short time with us that he's got quality, and having that extra option in attack for a Champions League quarterfinal? Yes, please. Piero Hincapié, the versatile defender who can play across the back line, picked up a muscle problem during the recent international break and had to leave his national team early. He's not been available for Arsenal since, and there's no confirmed return date yet. With our defensive options already stretched, this one hurts more than people give it credit for. Mikel Merino, our Spanish midfielder who came in with such excitement last summer, is still working his way back from surgery on a fractured bone in his right foot. It's been a brutal injury for him, the type that takes real patience and proper rehabilitation. He hasn't played in a long time, and his target, apparently, is to return before the season ends. Whether that happens or not is unclear, but I genuinely hope he gets those minutes. He deserves it. What does all this actually mean for Arsenal? Here's my honest take. This is a very manageable squad on paper. Gabriel Magalhaes is back. He had an injury scare in the FA Cup defeat to Southampton, but was fit enough to play the full 90 against Sporting and looked solid. White, Saliba, Rice. These guys are all available, and that's your spine of the team right there. But the question marks in the final third are real. If Odegaard, Trossard, and Saka are all struggling, even at minor doubt level, then our attacking threat against a compact Bournemouth side that drew 2-2 with Manchester United recently gets complicated. Bournemouth are organized. They're not here to make up the numbers. They've got quality going forward, and they press well. This isn't a game you can sleepwalk through. Fabrizio Romano, by the way, has been closely tracking Arsenal's situation this season and has noted multiple times how much the club's depth is being tested by injury at key moments. When your most important attacking players keep getting hurt at the same time, it's not just bad luck. It becomes a pattern that the coaching staff has to address in the summer. And that's something to think about for the offseason, too. We need more options. Real depth in attack. If one injury to Saka sends us scrambling every time, that tells you something about the squad. The bigger picture. Title race pressure. Let me zoom out for a second. 9 points clear. That sounds amazing because it is amazing. But football doesn't care about how comfortable a lead looks in April. Man City have a game in hand. Liverpool are still in the mix. One bad result doesn't cost you the title, but one bad week can tighten everything up, and suddenly the pressure feels different. Arsenal have had a tough few weeks domestically. The EFL Cup final loss to City, the FA Cup exit to Southampton, those hurt. But Tuesday's 1-0 win in Lisbon, that was a proper response. That showed character. A late goal, away from home, in the Champions League? You can't ask for much more than that. Now they've got to translate that confidence into Saturday's performance. Bournemouth at the Emirates should be a winnable game, but should be and is are different things. And with injury doubts hanging over key players, Arteta needs his squad to show up collectively. Can they do it without a fully fit Saka or Odegaard if it comes to that? I think so. But it'll be tougher. And the margin for error in a title race? Almost zero. Quick question for you. I want to know what you think. If Arteta had to choose, start Saka from the beginning and risk another setback or bring him off the bench and be cautious, what would you do? And what about Odegaard? Is his presence so important that Arteta should find a way to get him on the pitch, even for 60 minutes? Or do you protect him and save him for the bigger battles ahead in Europe? Drop your thoughts. I'm genuinely curious, because these decisions could define a weekend and maybe even a season. This is Arsenal. We handle business. Look, I'll be straight with you. The injury list is messy right now. It's not ideal. And yes, I've been sitting here slightly anxious about Saturday ever since those substitutions happened in Lisbon. But here's what I also know. This Arsenal squad has handled adversity before. Remember when half the team was injured earlier this season and we still ground out results? Remember the character shown in that second half against Sporting? These aren't soft players. This is a resilient group. Mikel Arteta will have a plan. He always does. And whether Saka starts or comes off the bench, whether Odegaard plays 90 minutes or watches from the dugout, Arsenal will go out there at the Emirates in front of their own fans and give everything. Bournemouth won't be walking away with 3 points. I refuse to believe that. But what I do believe is that this is a massive week for Arsenal. Bournemouth on Saturday, Sporting second leg on Tuesday, the title race and the Champions League, both hanging in the balance. Both requiring the best version of us. Arsenal are at home. They are in incredible form. And Bournemouth, while not a bad side, really should not be able to stop this team, especially not at the Emirates. Win probability? Arsenal at 67.5%. Draw at 19%. Bournemouth sneaking something, just 13.4%. The numbers say Arsenal. The moment says Arsenal. But football doesn't always care about numbers, does it? Saka is coming back, and the internet is going crazy. Let's start with the news everyone actually cares about. Bukayo Saka, our guy, the man who makes this team tick. He has been out since the Carabao Cup final and even pulled out of England duty because of the issue he has been managing. We have missed him massively. You can feel the difference when he is not on that pitch. The energy is different. The danger is different. But here is the good news. Arteta hinted before the Sporting win on Tuesday that Saka could be ready for the weekend. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, that he hopes both Saka and Timber will be available if everything goes well between now and Saturday. That is huge. Now, will he start? Honestly, I don't think so. Arsenal will be careful with him. He has been out a while, and this is a title run-in. You don't rush Saka back and risk losing him for 3 more months. My guess is he starts on the bench and maybe comes on in the second half if Arsenal need a spark. That's the smart move. But just having him in the squad again changes the whole vibe. You feel me? Timber 2. The double return we've been waiting for, and it's not just Saka. Jurrien Timber has also been battling a groin problem and is also hoping to be fit for Saturday. This man has been one of our most versatile and reliable players this season. He can play right back, left back, even central defense. He gives Arteta so many options. Now, same thing applies. He might just be on the bench even if he makes it. Arsenal won't rush any of their key players back. But again, having him available is a massive boost to the squad depth. 2 players returning at the same time just when the title run-in is heating up? Yeah, that feels like the football gods are smiling at us right now. The injury concerns that are still worrying me. All right, let me be honest. It's not all positive news. Mikel Merino is out, confirmed. No timeline given for his return, and it hurts because Merino has been important in certain games, especially in big moments in midfield. We move on, but his absence is felt. Odegaard Eze is still not fit. We paid big money for Eze last summer, and the poor guy has barely been available. He has shown flashes of brilliance when fit, but right now he is just not there yet. That's tough. Hincapi is also a doubt. He adds good defensive cover and depth, so losing him is not ideal. And then there is the Odegaard situation. Our captain went down off the ball during the Sporting game and came off shortly after. Arsenal said it did not look serious, and I pray that is true. Because losing Odegaard right now, at this point in the season with the title in our hands, would be one of the worst things that could happen to this club. He is the brain of this team. No Odegaard means we lose so much creativity and control. Do you think Arsenal can still win the title without Odegaard for a few weeks? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious what you think. The predicted lineup, and why I'm actually excited about it here, is what Arteta is expected to go with on Saturday. 4-2-3-1. Raya, Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice, Madueke, Odegaard, Martinelli, Havertz. Let me talk about a few of these selections because there are some really interesting choices here. Mosquera at right back. This one is about managing Ben White's workload. White has been playing a lot, and Arteta knows he needs to be smart about keeping his players fresh for the final stretch. Mosquera is a solid option here and has shown he can be trusted. Not the most exciting name, but this is the kind of smart squad management that could make the difference come May. Martinelli starting. Yes, this feels right. Gabriel Martinelli was electric when he came on against Sporting. Him and Havertz combined for the winning goal in stoppage time. When Martinelli is sharp and confident, he is one of the best forwards in the league. I love seeing him get this chance from the start. Havertz leading the line, same story. He came off the bench against Sporting and looked like a different player. Sharp, involved, dangerous. If this version of Havertz shows up on Saturday, Bournemouth are in serious trouble. And what about Leandro Trossard? Listen, I rate Trossard. He has been good for Arsenal over the years, but no goal in any competition in 2026? That's a problem. That is not the form of a man who should be guaranteed a starting spot when others are knocking the door down. Arteta seems to agree, at least for now. And honestly, I think that's the right call. Ben White and the bigger picture. There is something worth talking about here that I don't think gets enough attention. Arteta is actively trying to manage Ben White's game time. That tells you something about where we are in the season. This is the moment where every decision matters. Rest the right players now so they peak at the right time. That is elite management. Mosquera coming in at right back is not a downgrade. It is a tactical rotation that protects a key player. And in a match like this, where Arsenal should have enough quality to win comfortably, it makes total sense. Fabrizio Romano and what's happening behind the scenes. Now this is interesting. While we are focused on Saturday, things are already moving behind the scenes at Arsenal. Fabrizio Romano has been speaking about Arsenal's summer plans, and there is a lot going on. Romano confirmed on his YouTube channel that Arsenal are going to be busy in the summer, saying, Arsenal are considering the possibility to do something not just in midfield, but at right back and also at winger. Arsenal are going to be active in the summer. The work behind the scenes is starting. Right back, midfield, winger, 3 positions, and honestly, all 3 make sense. The right back situation has been a talking point all season. Ben White has been managing his fitness carefully, and Mosquera, while decent, is not a long-term first-choice answer. Arsenal needs someone who can truly own that position. The winger situation is also very real. Trossard's form has dipped. Martinelli is good but inconsistent. And there have been reports linking Arsenal with a move for Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. Football Transfers reports that Arsenal are planning to bid for Gordon as part of a broader strategy to build more of an English core in the squad. Now, do I think Gordon is the answer? I'm not fully convinced, to be honest. He has been decent this season, but his Premier League numbers are not amazing. Gordon has only managed 3 Premier League goals this season, with most of his attacking output coming in the Champions League. That is not the level you expect from a player who could cost $75 million. But what Arteta wants is someone with pace, work rate, and the ability to press from wide areas. Gordon fits that profile in terms of style. The question is, does he bring enough quality to genuinely improve this Arsenal side? That is a debate worth having. And then there is the Tresoldi situation. Some journalists were claiming Arsenal were in advanced talks to sign Nicolo Tresoldi from Club Brugge, a young German striker with a big reputation. But Romano quickly cooled things down. Romano said clearly, according to my information, between Arsenal and Tresoldi, there is nothing really advanced and nothing really concrete. So don't get carried away with that one just yet. What I will say is this: Arsenal know what they need, and the fact that Arteta and the recruitment team are already working on summer business while chasing the title, that is what a top club looks like. What this game means for the title race. Let me put this into simple terms. If Arsenal win on Saturday, they go 12 points clear before Man City versus Chelsea on Sunday. Think about that. 12 points, with games still to play. Even if City win against Chelsea, Arsenal would still be in an incredible position. And if Chelsea do Arsenal a favor, we could be looking at a gap that is almost impossible to close. This is the moment. This is where titles are won or lost, not in the flashy games against big clubs, but in home games against sides like Bournemouth, where you just have to do your job, stay professional, and take the 3 points. Can Arsenal do that? Absolutely. This team has been brilliant all season, but football is funny and nothing is guaranteed. My honest analysis, fan perspective right. Here is what I actually think. Arsenal win this game, probably 2-0 or 3-0. Havertz scores. Martinelli causes chaos down the left. Bournemouth struggle to get the ball off Rice and Zubamendi in midfield. Raya barely has a save to make. That's the optimistic view, and right now, I think it's the realistic one too. The only thing that genuinely worries me is injuries. If Odegaard is not fully fit or starts but looks off, that is when I get nervous. He is the one who unlocks things for this team in tight moments. Without him, Arsenal can look flat and predictable. But if Odegaard plays, Havertz and Martinelli are firing, and Saka or Timber comes on to put the game to bed in the second half. Oh man, that is a very good day to be an Arsenal fan. Are you feeling confident about this one, or are you still holding your breath? Drop it in the comments. Small questions for you. Do you think Saka should start, or is it smarter to bring him off the bench? Is Trossard being dropped the right call, or is Arteta being too harsh? Who would you want Arsenal to sign this summer? Anthony Gordon or someone else entirely? Do you believe Arsenal will win the title this season? Yes or no? I want to hear your thoughts. Seriously. These are the debates that make following this club so much fun. Let's go, Arsenal. Look, at the end of the day, this is Arsenal's moment. We have been waiting for this for so long. The near misses, the heartbreaks, the seasons where it felt like it was ours and then it slipped away. This time feels different. This squad is deeper. Arteta is smarter. The mentality in that dressing room is not the same as 2 or 3 years ago. Saturday is just one step. But every step matters now.